Notre Dame's defense dominated for 3 quarters, and the offense wasn't bad either, scoring 45 points over 60 minutes in a 52-3 blowout of Florida State. I'm Tim O'Malley with Tim Priester of Irish Illustrated, John Bryce of the Football Scoop, and Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis is brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. Tim Priester was pressure up front by the defensive line, Riley Mills with 3 sacks, Donovan Heinisch with 2, and you could lose track of how many quarterback pressures there were. It's going to be interesting when Pro Football Focus tallies all those up.
Yeah, 8 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. We told you their quarterback play was bad, largely because their offensive line is so bad. Notre Dame tore them apart. You know, the first half was really pretty unsatisfactory from an offensive standpoint. Notre Dame had 273 yards total offense, and it wasn't a very good 273. But
they're on pace for a good day.
Yeah, no, they were. The number itself was good, but they finished strong at the end of the second half, and then strong coming out of the halftime break, and did exactly what they had to do. And now the Notre Dame world now understands why we didn't think that Florida State could compete with Notre Dame, because they find ways to just keep falling further and further behind. They're right now they are an awful football program, and credit to Notre Dame. They again, there are many ways you can go. They came out and played great football by and large.
JB, Jadarian Price said post-game 200 yards is our standard. That's the new standard. We feel we can always get there. It was good to see Price have a really good day. Florida State took one player out of the game. Other than a 1-yard touchdown, they couldn't corral Jeremiah Love more than anybody else has all season, but he was the only one.
Yeah, he was the only one that they remotely sort of had a governor on for the length of the game. But I think it's important to note that the Price, Riley Leonard, Jeremiah Love trio combined for 4 rushing touchdowns, always going to be a recipe for success for Notre Dame. And then to the point about the damage that Notre Dame's defense did, and I'm not detracting from it, but to give you an idea of how much trash Florida State has been on the offensive side of the ball this year, those 10 TFLs and 8 sacks, neither is a season high against the Seminoles. We will have all the details there. I've already compiled a game-by-game breakdown for us to have on Overtime with you and I tonight, O'Malley. But again, credit the Notre Dame defense. They were complete disruptors. They really set the tone in this game, and Notre Dame handled business on a day that, again, we saw teams not handle business.
I'm glad you mentioned the word disruptors, because Jordan Clark came in to talk post-game. Riley Leonard talked post-game. They both brought up how good the defensive line is for Notre Dame. Jordan Clark's like, man, I'm telling these guys, this is easy. We go out there, it's easy every time I do it. They were all over them defensively today, and I said 45 offensive points because Luke Talich, interception touchdown. I think it's fitting for the proceedings, but I think 52-3 looks a little bit different when the committee gathers as well for this.
No, there's no doubt about it, and I don't know that Notre Dame was necessarily trying to add style points. Apparently, the broadcast indicated that Notre Dame was trying to pilot on.
Luke Talich has to score when he picks one off in his running. There's no doubt about that.
And then when Angeli comes in, he has to throw the football. Notre Dame's not trying to score and run up the score. They're just trying to possess the football and not give it back to the opponent. So I'm interested to hear what was said there, because I think it's overblown. But 3 for 17 on third down for Florida State. It was pretty easy pickings for Notre Dame up front. They lost Howard Cross. It appears it's a ankle sprain based upon the way he was wrapped down on the field. Looks like a high ankle sprain. Unfortunately, this time of year, a high ankle sprain for a 300-pound lineman could take the rest of the regular season before he's back. So we'll see about that. But no, a real dominant performance by Notre Dame's defensive front. There were some times where Lawrence Toafili gashed them a little bit, but I mean, it added up to, again, you can see why Florida State has not had 300 yards total offense in a game this year.
It's going to be interesting, JB, because I talked to Tim Priester at one point during the game. After 3 quarters, I said, this is the best rush efficiency I've ever seen by a team down 38 points, because they were running the ball okay. The passing game of Florida State is tragic. And the passing game for Notre Dame, Riley Leonard said I left some stuff out there. He certainly did. 14 of 27, 215 yards, a touchdown pass. I thought it was a big step for Jaden Greathouse he's the guy I thought would have games like this every other week, if not every week, where he drew a pass interference, but he also had 3 third down conversions, including one of those tunnel screens that he pulled it off himself. I think he's the next step in the passing game.
And I thought he showed great vision on the tunnel screens. Like, he was very decisive, almost like a running back. He caught the ball and turned upfield in a hurry and had a mindset and had a plan, frankly, when he caught those balls and when he was working in the tunnel screens and he knew he had blockers. I just thought his assertiveness was really key to that sequence sequence of plays when Notre Dame utilized it in its offense. I love Notre Dame continuing to get that tunnel screen more on video for its opposition, because we know that Notre Dame can set some stuff up off of it and go a different direction. Another key, I thought, offensively tonight, Mitchell Evans.
Yes.
I was a little surprised they overturned the call. I thought it would just maybe go as it was called on the field. But a heck of an athletic play by Mitchell Evans on an incompletion, a heck of an athletic play to Mitchell Moss, the guy, and go over the top and take the ball right away from him for a key catch earlier in the game.
That was the first time Mitchell Evans looked like Ohio State and Duke from last year.
No doubt, he's been progressing in recent weeks. I want to say this about Leonard, and it's not an excuse for him. He was 14 for 27, 215 yards, no interception, and the 1 touchdown. He certainly airmailed a few throws, but most of those throws were contested. Most of the time, Notre Dame's receivers were blanketed. He had the one right before, the one to Evans and the one right before were really streamlined and put it right on the button. But most of those passes were challenged by
drops.
There were
two
drops. So I mean, most of those were challenged. And you know, I mean, Marcus Freeman's talked about their secondary, and we talked about preseason about their cornerback play. Those guys are good. So, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it. Leonard's been completing 70%. He didn't get a ton of help in some of those situations, and Florida State played some pretty good coverage on the back end.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Real quickly, I would just say I think he was really close to being 18 of 27, and that's very dramatic if you're just a box score surfer and you want to see what he did and you're judging it based on that. I really thought he was pretty close to 18 for 27, and that would have given him 40 to 60 more yards. Those 2 drops were going to have some real estate with them. So not a perfect game. He did overthrow. He was late on a throw one time when Jaden Harrison maybe made the break and could have caught it had he been delivering the ball as he makes the turnaround. But again, 0 turnovers, and I think if you're Notre Dame at this stage in the season, you can't give a team with no life when you don't turn the ball over.
Good 4 quarters for Notre Dame. I think at least 1, if not 2 teams ranked ahead of them. Lost today, could drop behind them. However, 1 team ranked behind them will likely move in front. Could be 2 teams moving in front, but that's what the next 3 weeks are for. And that's what Irish Illustrated Overtime is for. You can follow us there on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Until then, this has been the Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana.